Thank you, Zach. Okay, committee, bring the meeting to order. We've got a lot to do today. We have to hear one bill. So we are going to be pressed for time. Thank you for being here. Staff, thank you for being here. Conferees, thank you also for being here. And we're going to start off, before I forget, we're going to start off with approval of minutes of 2/6, 25, 210, 211, 213, 214, 217, and 227. Committee, do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Representative Bless.
Mr. Chair, so moved to approve all those minutes on all those dates.
And a second. Second by Representative Ruiz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Okay, we're going to open, and we've got a long list of proponents on this bill today. So we're going to open the hearing on SB 175. And with that, Carly will give us a update. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, committee. Senate Bill 175, as amended by Senate committee, updates the definition of athletic trainer and provides an exemption for an athletic trainer licensed in another jurisdiction who accompanies an athletic team or organization to this state. Section 1 amends the definition of athletic training in KSA 65-6902 to the practice of injury prevention, physical evaluation, emergency care, and referral or physical reconditioning relating to athletic activity, including but not limited to sports participation, exercise, fitness training, strength and conditioning work, recreational physical activities, and competitive athletics. The definition also includes that athletic training means making clinical decisions to determine if consultation or referrals are necessary, healthcare administration, professional responsibility, performance of athletic training research, and educating the public regarding safe participation in athletic activities and proper training methods. Section 2 amends KSA 65-6906 to allow an athletic trainer licensed in another jurisdiction who is accompanying an athletic team or organization from another state or jurisdiction to provide the services of an athletic trainer to be exempt from the licensure requirements of this act if that person limits athletic training services to the members of that athletic team or organization. Section 3 amends KSA 65-6907 that an applicant for licensure as an athletic trainer shall provide proof of successful completion of the curriculum requirements of an accredited athletic training education program at an accredited college or university. The bill passed the Senate by a vote of 40-0, and it would go into effect on July 1st, 2025, upon publication in the statute book. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Committee questions of Carly. Representative Buehler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This sounds vaguely or almost mirror familiar from last year. Didn't we hear a similar bill from a year ago?
Mr. Chair, Representative, I am unaware of that bill, but maybe a conferee would know.
I don't know. We had an athletic trainer bill. It seems very familiar to a year ago. So I just, if it's not familiar to you, we'll just roll with what we have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'm not aware of that, of what happened last year here. So, Representative Ruiz.
This is not a compact.
Mr. Chair, Representative, no. This is just amending the definition of athletic trainer in statute.
Great, thank you.
Committee, further discussion? Thank you, Carly. And a little bit of housekeeping here. I understand we have a distinguished guest in her office, Miss Steens. No, hang on. I'm doing something a little different here. Would you stand up? There you go. This is Representative Steens' daughter. Welcome to committee. Okay, now, Shauna. Sorry about that.
That was my error. Sorry. Thank you, Rep. Carpenter and the committee. First, I'll just say last year's bill was not definitions or anything. It was concussion education updating for all of schools. So I am Shauna Jordan. I'm the Government Affairs Chair for our Kansas Athletic Trainers Society. And as you heard, we're really looking to modernize and update the Practice Act to reflect our current athletic training education requirements, as well as ensuring the athletic trainers can work to their fullest extent. The individuals as athletic trainers collaborate with physicians to optimize our practice and our care. And also, our education has moved to a master's level to earn your degree and then take a national examination that's administered by our Board of Certification. As you heard, it did pass Senate fully. I do want to share that during the Senate hearing, there was one opponent. But as the two organizations were able to meet, work together, and found a way to address their concerns, and what you saw before you was the amendment that was agreed upon and then voted on out of the committee and then went fully to pass in the Senate. The Athletic Training and Leadership Team's been working very closely with the Athletic Training Council and the Kansas Board of Healing Arts to work through what needed to be updated to also address and understand next steps, which would be rules and regulations after our statutes. So, thank you.
Committee questions? Thank you, Shauna. No questions? Representative Bryce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Shauna. Just curious what the problem was in the Senate they worked out?
It was the individuals that we met with. It was the Physical Therapy Association, and we just worked together to come up to clean up the definition to reflect what they thought athletic training was and what our actual definition was. So together, we rewrote the definition.
Representative Blex.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The word athletic trainer seems to kind of be a stigma that's attached only with sports. And your guys are wanting to expand your practice and your knowledge into other fields, am I correct, or military and some business?
Thank you for the question, Rep. Blex. Yes, so actually athletic trainers are employed beyond just athletics. So traditional, everyone thinks secondary schools, community colleges, university athletics, but we also have athletic trainers work with the military, and actually that's one of the goals is updating as Fort Leavenworth and Fort Riley both want to hire athletic trainers, part of a program that they run for soldier readiness. But we also work with performing arts, emergency responders, as well as industry. So Boeing is a company that does hire a lot of athletic trainers and other industries along those lines.
As I age, the word athletic becomes a little bit more challenging to me. But I do appreciate, you know, in my simple mind, seeing an athletic trainer, and I kind of associate those sometimes with somebody on a high school football team and somebody running out if they get hurt. But, you know, thinking about that, they visually watch what happened as opposed to, man, knock me out, and I may have to go into the doctor's office and try to explain. And to me, the working knowledge that you guys get and that exposure is fantastic because you actually see a lot of times what happens. And being able to diagnose it and gives you an in-depth. Thank you for that, Mr.
Thank you.
Representative McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just looking at some neutral testimony from the Kansas Chiropractic Association, and it looks like they're asking for us to remove Section 2F, which says an individual who accompanies an athletic team or organization from another state or jurisdiction and provides the services of an athletic trainer in Kansas is exempt from the licensure requirements of the Kansas Athletic Trainers Licensure Act. Do you have a position on?
So we've actually been meeting with Travis and working with them, and as we've talked with them, that will come into definitions during the rules and regulations updating.
Okay, thank you.
Committee, further questions? Seeing none, Shauna, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
I'll close the hearing on SB 175, and we will begin working on Senate Bill 126. Carly, will you give us an overview of, and we heard this yesterday.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 126 is enacting the Physician Assistant Licensure Compact.
Okay. Do I have a motion to pass out? Do I have any discussion, first of all? Do I have a motion to pass out Senate Bill 126? Representative Steens,
Move to approve passing out Senate Bill 126.
and a second? Second by Representative Droege. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, now I will take the contents of Senate Bill 126 out, and I will insert the contents of House Bill 2386, 2250, 2397, and 2399. Bear with me a minute. Committee, I'm going to make a motion to reconsider what we just did here. If that's okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, I will get my act together here. Who seconded? Representative Bryce. Okay, now, I'm going to open up 126. Is there discussion on 126? Representative McDonald.
For clarity, can you tell me what we just undid? Because we did a bunch of things.
Yeah, I mistakenly got ahead of myself and we passed out 126, Senate Bill 126. And so we've rescinded that. We're now working on Senate Bill 126. Is there discussion on Senate Bill 126, committee? Okay. Now, I would make a motion that we insert the contents of House Bill 2386, 2250, 2397, and 2399 and remove the contents of Senate Bill 126 and insert the contents of those four bills that we worked yesterday. Do I have a second?
Oh.
Second by Representative Bryce. Now discussion.
Okay, I have an objection. I have an amendment for 2399, or will that eventually come up? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
So then we'll work those bills. Okay, committee. Any more? Representative Berquist.
Would you repeat the numbers of the bills we're inserting?
Yeah, they're the four bills. They're the four bills that we worked yesterday.
Okay.
All the Medicaid bills.
Okay, very good.
Representative McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there a Senate version of this
Okay.
There is.
compact that, okay, or not compact, sorry, definition change for,
Okay, committee, further discussion? Now we're going to work the contents of
approve the insertion of this bill, and then we can open it up
Okay.
to work the contents of
All right.
Senate Bill 126.
Okay, committee, I have a motion. Do I have a motion to work these bills? A motion and a second by Representative Bryce. Okay, now we're going to work these bills. Take a vote. Okay. All in favor of the bills that being inserted in this bill, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we will work the bills that are in the bill. Do I have a motion to do that?
Move to work the bills.
Okay. I don't need it, necessarily need a motion. Okay. Hang on.
When we pass it out, House substitute for Senate Bill 126.
Right. So discussion on the bills.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a motion for an amendment on the part that has House Bill 2399.
Second.
Okay, we have an amendment and a second.
Mid-level providers.
Yeah, that kind of that all encompassing. Would you like, while we're passing it out, would you like to explain your amendment?
My amendment is the same issue that I addressed yesterday with the administrator of this universal newborn screening, to make sure that we include mid-level providers, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and nurse midwives, to ensure that we're all on the same page when they're distributing out this type of funding and potential feedings for the screenings of these babies. So that's what my amendment does.
Committee discussion. Representative Blex.
Mr. Chair, I fully support this. This committee, I think, has a long track record of trying to stand up and include all health providers to be able to work according to their education, and I completely support this amendment. Thank you.
Further discussion on the amendment. Representative Berquist.
I have a question for the carrier of the amendment. Can you name the practitioners that are included? You named some, but did you name all the practitioners that would be included in that?
Carly can help you out.
Okay,
with that.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe it's 65-1626. The definition would read, mid-level practitioner means a certified nurse midwife engaging in the independent practice of midwifery under the Independent Practice of Midwifery Act. An advanced practice registered nurse issued a license pursuant to KSA 65-1131, who has the authority to prescribe drugs under KSA 65-1130 and amendments thereto, or a physician assistant license pursuant to the Physician Assistants Licensure Act. And those are who are covered under this definition.
Okay. All right. May have to work on it towards the House floor. I don't know. We're fine. I'm just trying to figure out what they'll be able to do by adding those, what they'll actually be able to accomplish, what they'll actually be able to do more than what they already have.
They're not going to do anything more than they already have. They're just drawing blood.
Very good.
If you remember the discussion we had yesterday, it didn't specifically enumerate who could do it.
Very good.
Even though they've been doing it, I didn't realize that they couldn't do it. They've been doing it for years. And this just is a broader term for allowing them to do what they've already been doing.
I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Committee, further discussion. Seeing none, you may move your amendment.
I move my amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Further discussion on the bills in this bill, the four bills we heard yesterday. Seeing none, I need a motion to pass the House substitute for Senate Bill 162 as amended. Oh, 126, sorry. Representative Reeves,
Make the motion.
second by Howell, Representative Howell. All in favor, say aye.
Amended.
No, I did read as amended. I did that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I asked for crayons, remember, Carly? Okay, committee. I suppose we have some time here. Will there be any committee objections to working Senate Bill 175 that we just heard with committee's permission? Okay, I would entertain, we will begin working Senate Bill 175. Are there any comments? Representative Blex.
Mr. Chair, I move we suspend the rules and do an EFA on Senate Bill 175. I think when it comes out 40-0 in the Senate, that gives a pretty clear intent what we want to do.
Do I have a second? Second by Representative Ellis. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bill is passed.
Mr. Chair, you just made a motion to advance it to be heard. Now it's ready to be voted on, I believe. Am I wrong?
No, he said emergency.
That's probably my confusion. I made a motion to suspend the rules and do EFA and pass Senate Bill 175 out, so it's probably a double motion. I apologize for that, but the end results was quicker, so let's do it.
So there is some confusion. I don't ever do, I ask for the committee's permission.
Right.
But there's also the way of doing it with EFA like he did it. Different chairs do it differently, but I just always ask for the committee's permission. If there's no objections, then I go ahead.
My apologies, sir.
It doesn't, I don't think it matters, does it? Okay, so is the bill passed or not?
Carl, give it the blessing, Carl.
We'll take care of it.
Okay, so the bill's passed. Hey, we're good. This is about time we laughed and this, okay.
Does the M hit?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. With the committee's permission, I would like to work House Bill 2236, the MHIT bill that we heard on Tuesday. Are there objections from the committee? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion. Representative Bueller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we pass out House Bill 2236 favorably.
And a second? Second by Representative Steens. Discussion? Representative Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be a lone voice here. I know we heard the bill the other day. You know, I support mental health, but I just think this program is misplaced. It's, you know, rather than being heard here in health, it seems that it should be in education, so that it can be considered along with all other things that are in the educational realm, such as funding of special ed and more teachers and other considerations. So it was no surprise to me that there wasn't much opposition to what we heard the other day, because it's free money from the state, and who doesn't like free? So, you know, it does use school resources in terms of their office space. It draws on their resources to staff. In Section 6 of the bill, the mental health intervention team board is staffed with people from the school. So just for conversation up, but I won't be in support of the proviso being put into statute via this committee. But thank you.
Duly noted. Committee further discussion. Representative McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could I get clarity on whether or not the decision, or if it's written in here to take some of the money out of the mental health intervention money to put it into that virtual, virtual therapy, Hazel Hill, thank you. Is that in the bill, or is that a decision that the Budget Committee makes?
I can handle that, Carly. It is not in the bill, and the funding part is not in the bill. And that ended up being changed in appropriations to be an RFP for that. So they would go out to bids for mental health company. It may not be Hazel Hill. They were just instructed in appropriations to go out for bids instead of it being just a single person. They'd go out for bids.
Very good. Thank you so much for that answer.
Committee further discussion. Representative Bueller.
I'll just add to that for Representative McDonald, and for what it takes, that would not have taken any money away from the MHIT program. It was a proviso, it was part of the appropriations process from the Social Services Budget Committee, and it wouldn't have reduced any of the funding that was available, and it won't, assuming the RFP that the chairman mentioned goes ahead.
Representative Reeves.
You know, this bill has been a long time coming, and it's gone through a lot, and it's gone through so many provisos. When it started out as a pilot, you know, there were very few people really that were for it. I'm glad that I supported it. And it has grown tremendously, and to hear the success stories is just, it's unbelievable. We heard just very little of that, but I've heard many more stories of how it has really helped kids. And it came out of the mental health arena because that was the issue, that kids were not, they were having hard time listening and dropping out of school, or, you know, poor grades and things like that. And then, of course, the foster kids really weren't really getting enough attention. And so it was born out of Health and Human Services in one sense, because of the mental health, the Special Committee on Mental Health, that mental health reform that came out, 4 years ago or so. So it came out of all of that, and I think that's why the focus was on mental health and not so much on education. But as we can see, that addressing the needs of the children and the mental health needs has really enhanced their ability to learn, stay in school. Dropout rates are dropping almost drastically in some areas. So I'm glad that we're on our way to codifying this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Committee further discussion. Representative Rivas.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just want to weigh in on this. The FQHC that I work at, we started doing this probably about the time this got approved, I guess, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But I talked to one of the counselors last night at an open house. That's one of the behavioral health people, and they went on and on about the success they've had and the ability to provide services beyond what the school counselor and the school resources can do. And by going on site and doing it, the kid loses less time in class and not relying on a parent to come get them and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a huge hit. It's getting results.
Representative Steens.
Thank you. I'm being newer to this committee. I would like to just add to, so I have kids in the Catholic schools, and I talked to some of our Catholic school providers about this as well, and they were saying it has been such a game changer because, as I mentioned here, and let's not, I mean, as a parent myself, I'm looking at our children and seeing all the anxiety and the issues, so much more, even from when I was back in school. You know, you look at all the devices, and we discussed that in committee, also COVID, I think, and I think we've understated how much these kids have really been affected by a lot of this. So I'm very much in favor of the MHIT, and I've heard from lots of providers, like I said, even in the private schools, who really appreciate this. So thank you.
Representative Berquist.
Not as a medical term at all, but as an observation. I've lived through friends going through the Vietnam War and lived through knowing the generation that went through World War II. These kids have gone through a war of their own that they can't describe in ways of an adult terminology of the COVID. The rest of us have lived through times without that, and so many of them have lived half their lives in the shadow of that. I think it's an issue that has had to be dealt with in ways that we never imagined. I was not for this program to begin with. I thought it was misplaced to be going into the schools and doing the role of parents. But the more I've seen and the more I've heard, I'd be willing to change my mind later. But I think I'm supporting it now. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for that. Committee, further discussion. Representative Howell.
Thank you, Chair. I will be supporting this today. I think that it is important to understand that there are many different people from all walks of life that go to schools. And many of them do not have ready access to vehicles. And parents do not have ways to take their kids to get mental health care. And their families, if they have families who do have vehicles to take them, are already struggling to, in addition to take care of their own families, are already struggling to take them to food banks and doctor's appointments and Walmart or get clothes or the Goodwill and those kinds of things to get clothes and those kinds of things. And I know this because this is my family. And so when there's an opportunity to have a little bit of help by getting mental health assistance at school or getting a little help by a school nurse, those kinds of things, it is truly helpful. And I know there's challenges or money, and we can't spend money that we don't have. And I get that, and I believe in that, and we have to live within our means. But, doing it by proviso is not a good way to live. But, and I think we need to work on how we do this better. But I think this is important to fight for. And it's my job to make a decision about how I'm going to vote for this committee, and it's the chair's job to fight for it later. So that's why I'm going to vote yes for now. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Bill is passed. Okay, committee, I think that gets us on track for the week. It was a pretty ambitious schedule, but you guys have stepped up and we've got it done. Tomorrow we will hear Senate Bill 2967 and Senate Bill 250 tomorrow. And with that, we're adjourned.